You're listening to Sledvolution Rampage, the hottest, newest Carolina Hurricanes podcast. I'm Omar.
And I'm Kyle.
And I'm Zach.
We are recording live from the Raleigh Iceplex, where we just finished watching the Carolina Sled Hockey Tournament, complete with a win for the
Space Coast Sled team.
Yeah, Space Coast Sled team over the Carolina Hurricanes, an exciting 3-2.
It was a very fun game to watch. It was a lot of hitting. I didn't expect that.
I would say it got more physical once it was tied up. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, it got really really rough there, and it's great to see Minter out here calling the games.
Yeah,
that was really fun. It gave me a little bit of a it's like a real game back in PNC.
Yeah. Except it's in the Iceplex.
Except it's in the Iceplex. So, yeah, we're recording live from Raleigh Iceplex today. So we're going to talk about a couple of other things. We're going to conclude with speaking about what just happened here at the Raleigh Iceplex with the sled hockey. We want to talk about the general manager position vacancy for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Remember, everyone can apply.
Don't trust Twitter. Don't trust Twitter.
So we're going to talk about all that. I mean, we're going to bring up some of the crazy things that happened down in Charlotte with the Checkers. And
boom.
Yeah, and then we're going to bring all that
Goals.
Here after this.
Goals happened.
Oh, yeah. So the general manager position is now vacant for the Carolina Hurricanes when Juan Francis was promoted, demoted, moved over.
Wait, we had a GM?
It's a good question. Everybody's been saying, which way is he gone?
Yeah, so for a lot, that's a promotion. He's now the president of hockey operations. However, did that position exist?
I don't know. I feel like it was just opened up.
And if the new general manager does not report to the president of hockey operations because he's going to report to Tom Dundon, is that really a promotion, or is he just being pushed off the way? And is this just a saving grace for a person and a former player whose name is in rafters?
We all got to remember that Ron, before he was even GM, he was the not only executive in the organization, he was quote-unquote the director of hockey operations. So he went from one job title, the GM, and then back to this same job title basically, but with a new name.
It's true. I mean, his reign as general manager has been mired in mediocrity. It's been okay, but it's been good, just not good enough to get us into the playoffs. We've always been hovering at the threshold where everyone's always been saying, next year, this is the team to watch. And then,
well, I mean, even at this point in the season, every year, they're like, oh, we're right there. We're right on the edge.
We're right on the cusp.
Oh, man, we're going to make the playoffs this year. And then we just... Bloop.
And every year, we've been getting a little better, but it's not there. It's like we've been getting maybe 1 or 2, 3, 4 points over the previous season. Where does the mediocrity end? Is it because of Bill Peters? Should Tom Dundon have fired Bill Peters?
At this stage of the season, I don't think that would have been a great idea, because even though we're still in that cusp area where there's still a chance, I really thought it was a good idea just to leave Peters where he is for the time being. Now, if the new GM decides to get rid of him, whoever that new GM is, because we've already had 3 people get approval for interviewing the GM position.
Right, and there's Mike Fuda over in Los Angeles. He's their assistant GM over there. I think that's a great name to bring in Raleigh. There's a lot of people.
It'll be interesting.
Raleigh's a nicer place in LA, let's be real.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Just saying.
Less smog.
And smug. There's a lot of names being thrown out. However, will that name actually go ahead and get rid of Bill Peters now? Or does Bill Peters get a stay of execution until the end of the season at least?
Execution's a pretty strong word.
It is.
I think if Peters, if he definitely doesn't make the playoffs, he's gone.
I mean,
and that's from a fan perspective and more than likely Dundon perspective.
Isn't he batting 500, so to speak?
His entire career has been batting 500,
well,
and that's if you take OTLs as what they are, and which is a straight loss still. And
also every Canes coach that we've had has either had a over 500 record or your Kirk Muller.
Unfortunately, that's been a controversy. But the question is, do we just not have the money before? Now we do with Tom Dundon. I think it's a shared blame. Kermanos didn't want to bring out the money. Then we talked about how Francis had found the checkbook and he was going to sign players because he threw money at Darlin. And then, the question became, well, Carmanos is gone and Ron Francis still didn't do anything about bringing in players over the trade deadline. He did nothing. He sat on it. I wrote an article for Cardiac Kane saying that that's not Tom Dundon's style. And lo and behold, it came to light that basically the reason Ron Francis was moved was because him and Tom Dundon just have different mindsets.
Something that Ron Francis had said in an interview was that he didn't want to get placeholder players, didn't want rental players, which I can completely understand. What's the point of dishing out money, potentially trading some good players for, a guy that's going to hang around for a season or two, then maybe go to the AHL?
But the question becomes, Ron Francis also didn't pull anyone up from the AHL. We have excellent players down there who a lot of people believe are ready for the NHL.
I really think in the offseason we'll see a lot more of those Charlotte players coming to practices.
At least the camp.
At least the camp.
Especially Ned.
Minimum.
Especially Ned. He has to come.
Yeah, but honestly, hasn't been a call-up that whose name isn't Walmart or who else was it? Patrick Brown called up for a game or two.
Nikas was there for 2 games, and then he got sent off to Europe.
I think it was like 8 games, but he only played like 1. I think it was a healthy scratch for most of those opening 8 games where he doesn't have to actually sign with the team during the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And but Martin Nikas has been a great, if anything, that's been one of Ron Francis' best picks because he's been killing it in the Czech.
Yeah, I will say that when Walmart does get ice time, he definitely puts his effort out there.
And Walmart got sent back down.
Yeah, and he got sent back down.
He got sent back down once Joakim Nordstrom got healthy again. So we only got 1 scratch player per game right now, and that's either Hayden Fleury or Klaus Dalbeck.
And that's going to be a debate over in the offseason is, do we keep Dalbeck? Do we get rid of him? Do we trust Fleury or trade him away?
Oh, no, Fleury's a good pick. Don't get me wrong. Fleury,
he's
my only
got
concern,
the potential.
My only concern is his his progress has been slow. I mean, Fleury was a first-round pick the year before Noah Hannafin. So the question becomes, Noah Hannafin's always been shown as our all-star this year, has been a great draft pick. Hayden Fleury's been a decent draft pick. I don't know if he should have been drafted as high as he was, but he's been a decent player. But then the question becomes, how does the new GM feel about the prospect line? And does he feel like those are players that we can trade away or players that we should continue to develop? Because I'm pretty sure that if he trades away Valentin Zikov, there might be some pitchforks coming out.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I would say it from Checkers fan base because there's a lot of people that go to those Checkers games in Charlotte. I mean,
Zikov's an excellent addition to the Canes organization. He's the first Russian since 08-09 to have a 30-goal season. He's currently still the AHL leading scorer.
Yeah.
Someone we are definitely excited for to bring perhaps next season.
With a lot of the players that we have down in Charlotte, they're playing really well together. But what we need to see is that next step. And we haven't really been able to see any of them try because we haven't brought any of them up. I mean, maybe, 3-4 of them down in Charlotte have had any experience up in Carolina, like up in Raleigh.
Right, and we really haven't gone beyond those 3 or 4 to do have the experience because we've always stuck with the safe picks, the guys who have had some NHL time, Lucas Walmark, Patrick Brown.
The issue is we're playing it safe.
Too safe.
Take chances.
We do.
Make mistakes.
Yeah, no risk, no reward.
Yeah.
And that's Tom Dundon's style. He's always been the risk taker. He's always made that calculated risk. And for him, the key word in that sentence is calculated.
Yeah.
Everything's about analytics.
Didn't know a whole lot about hockey. And he was like, let's buy a hockey team. And he went to every game, home and away, for a while.
Yeah, he wanted to study.
Figure it out, yeah.
That's the kind of person he is. He wants to learn. He wants to study what he's getting into before he makes decisions. And that's why he understood that once the trade deadline's passed, really the general manager's duties and his really responsibility sinks. It goes down. So that's why he's like, well, why wait any longer? What that does for him is it gives him a head start on GM positions.
Something we could also talk about. We talked about these like lackadaisical line changes and stuff where, we getting missed opportunities because we're being too slow.
Yeah.
I think it also has to do with discipline.
Definitely. Oh, it's not just discipline. I mean, it's discipline and...
Yeah, but, I mean, if your coach is going to skate you after a game because you were taking your sweet time, guess what you're probably going to do?
Back skirt.
Yeah, so I think we should see some of that.
Definitely. All right, joining us right now are a couple of the players from the Carolina Hurricanes sled hockey team. And let's give it a second here to let these guys introduce themselves.
Brant Ireland. Steve Horton.
Rob Piquel.
And what positions do you guys play?
I play defense.
Sometimes. Goalie.
I normally play D. Occasionally I play forward.
You guys just finished the finale of the tournament here. So just go ahead and tell us what went through your heads and how your emotions were during this tournament. Oh.
I'll let take that.
I mean, overall, it was a pretty good tournament. I thought we played pretty well. We did play some of the, I don't want to, how should I say it? Some of the lesser skilled teams were our earlier games in the tournament, and then we played one of the better teams at the end. So we didn't play up to the level we should have for our final game. Ended up costing us a win, but overall the tournament was pretty good, I thought.
And we enjoyed it.
I mean, I would definitely agree. They did a great job hosting. I think everybody that came out really enjoyed it, and we had fun up until the last game, I think.
And even that was fun too. I mean, we enjoy the hard-fought games with a little more intensity and things like that. You know, it's always fun to score a bunch of goals, but it's also, I mean, that's why we play for that competition, to get pushed, and those are the games you get better at. So.
Definitely. Yeah. No, it was, we really enjoyed it. I was over here slapping the glass behind you guys and making a ruckus.
I was wondering who that was. I was
No, that was me.
looking at you like I should know you.
He's like just over the board.
That's a great kid. Wow, that kid's really enthusiastic.
Oh yeah, no, I love the sport, and so tell people how important the game of sled hockey is to the entire sport of hockey.
Honestly, I think it's, I mean, all the different, you know, you get the hockey is for everyone now push, you know, the NHL is pushing that, USA Hockey's pushing that, and I think anything that leads into hockey, whether it's sled, blind, special, I mean, it all contributes to the game overall. It makes people more aware of hockey in general, and it honestly, in my opinion, it truly shows that hockey is for everyone, because regardless of your condition, you can find some type of hockey that you can play.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, there's definitely. I think a lot of people that play this don't really have a hockey background. They just kind of find it, and most people. There's a lot of converts from wheelchair basketball and stuff because they just really enjoy the contact and the competitiveness of it. And really good. It is good with the Disabled Festival with the 5 different disciplines and all that. Getting out there, and like Rob said, it is for everybody.
Yeah, just to kind of echo what these guys said, but it is, you know, like Steve said, it creates more hockey fans. So for for the NHL teams that really contribute, like to the Canes, all of a sudden, you got a bunch of new Canes fans that otherwise, not necessarily would have been, just because they didn't understand the secret society of hockey players kind of thing until you get on that ice and you really understand, then you can kind of relate to the players out there, like you said, whether you're in a sled or in any capacity, you feel like a hockey player, and so you can relate to even those top level NHL guys.
One thing that a lot of people don't know about this game is how physical it can really get. Like, a lot of people know that you guys are in sleds. It's not really as fast as a game that it normally is, but I saw you guys zooming around there just throwing shoulders.
Those are the most fun games, definitely. And I like to, when I'm trying to explain it to people, I was like, it's got the physicality of, stand-up hockey, because checking is definitely encouraged and a big part of the game, but it's also almost got the violence of a car crash, because it's a lot of metal on metal, metal on boards, metal on, and it just, every collision just seems so violent. When we're really pretty protected by the sleds, you don't see a lot of injuries, luckily. But it's a lot of those collisions sound pretty epic. So that, I think that adds to kind of the fans enjoying it too, and kind of just being in awe of, wow, that must have really hurt, But guys are flying into the walls and flying into the corners. That's a big part of what attracted me to the game. So
it's a lot. The hits are a lot lower on the boards too. So so it's more of a thud kind of kind of sounded.
Definitely.
But I know I cringe sometimes
No, we were
seeing the hits that
cringing.
people are like, ooh, that one doesn't.
The best hits are the open ice hits when you catch someone just right and you get to see the front of their sled go flying over backwards. That's the best.
Yeah, shoulder to shoulder, face to face, when you guys are going right at each other and just kind of you're offset. It's like a joust almost, and without putting your sticks up, it's just shoulder to shoulder, and those are the hits you feel through your body, and hopefully the opposing player feels it a little bit more.
Yeah.
You think you're watching a football game with some of these hits going around. In reality, this game's a lot of moving around with sticks and trying to position yourself. Is it a lot harder to like strategize that way during the game, or is it a lot more of a free for all? Hey, if you're there, you're there.
Well, it's you really try to work on the fundamentals of positioning of hockey, because that spacing and all that is very important. It's just there's a different aspect to it because you're not going to cover as much ground as quick with the shorter sticks and the bursts, and of course you have to have your sled and body in a position to accept the puck and then get it in a position to take the shot. If the puck's on your outside, it's hard to, and you don't have a clear, able to clear your body, then that shot can't be taken. So you got to work to do that. But no, there's a lot of same hockey strategy, just there's just some small intricacies.
One of the really big differences is, with stand-up skating, obviously you can skate backwards, you can stand still, and then you can start with a quick burst. In the sleds, it's a lot harder. If you come to a complete stop, it takes a lot more effort to get going again. You can't skate back. Well, you can skate backwards, but not effectively, so nobody...
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only ever seen one guy actually skate backwards in a game. So, what you see a lot is a lot of guys constantly circling, which makes it look like everybody's kind of going all over the place. But when it's done correctly, you still see the normal, passing and cycling that you would in hockey. It's just everybody's got to keep moving so you can keep that speed up and the momentum going.
Mine's easy.
He doesn't move.
Yeah. I just sit there.
That's a question for you then is, as a goaltender, how different is it from your perspective than stand-up?
I don't know. I never played stand-up, so it is a little bit different. I was actually talking to the second goalie there, and he did play stand-up. So you try to position yourselves with the dots and the hash marks and everything as best you can. It's a completely different angle, so you're not looking down on it. You're kind of looking more across it. So the positioning is a little bit harder. I grew up watching, so I probably have, out of this league, I think I have better positioning than most. They play deeper in the net. They don't really move that well. That's one thing that I kind of take pride in, that I'm able to cut down angles and do that just from watching the stand-up guys.
So a question. So I noticed the other goalie had a leg pad on, and you didn't. What's the reasoning behind that?
It's just kind of personal preference. I started out with a leg pad. I did that for 2 years. And I'm just fat, so I just needed to like lose some weight with that. So the pad doesn't weigh a whole lot, but anything that you can shed. Yeah. So that's pretty much why I did. Plus, you see the top tier guys who don't necessarily do that, so you're kind of like, I want to be like them. So
do you do any like alterations to a regular shin pad?
No, I just wear a regular shin pad underneath it. That's it.
Tell us what the sport of sled hockey brings to communities, because we talked about what it brings to the sport of hockey. We talked about the differences between it, but there's more that comes from sled hockey other than just spectator sport. There's a community factor to it of bringing people who thought they'd never be athletes to becoming athletes.
Yeah, everybody in the sport basically has had their trials and tribulations. They've come through accidents, disease, just birth defects, that type of stuff. So you're in it with everybody. You all kind of have a shared experience. You just kind of understand what everybody else has gone through. So it probably has affected most people's lives the same sort of way. When you have the ability to do something for so long and then all of a sudden it's taken away, you kind of feel lost and you're looking for something. Like I was playing sports beforehand and then I lost the leg and I didn't know what I was going to do. And somebody mentioned this to me, so it just kind of worked. It just kind of worked out. So I think it's just a shared experience.
Yeah, just to add on to Steve, as he was saying, it's we want to make sure people understand, what sled hockey means to an individual or all of us, and that what it's actually effectively done in our lives. It's everybody has their individual story that could sit here and tell you, and you'd be amazed at what, especially people who haven't experienced sled hockey or hockey, what it's done for our lives and how that's spread. Not just competitively, but how that spread to our family life, our work life, the whole rehabilitation aspect of physically, mentally, and emotionally. To the, I would say, just the average onlooker, it'd probably look like, okay, there's some disabled folks moving around, good for them to stay active, but really, like, you get those individual stories, and it's so much more than that. It's like you said, it's more than a sport to a lot of us. It's become a lifestyle, so we understand that. You said that hockey community, like you said, we're extremely grateful for it. I grew up an athlete. I think a lot of us grew up athletes, not necessarily hockey, but my life was a lot based around sports and being competitive. And after losing my leg, it was I like Steve said, it was lost. It was pretty devastating, actually. And the cool thing about this sport is it's a second chance at being an athlete again, and guys just appreciate it because it's they don't take it for granted. They've already had that aspect lost once, and they know how crushing that can be. So, like I said, to have this second chance at getting a huge part of your life back is pretty incredible.
It's an inspiring sport. You guys have inspired me. I know you've inspired other people. And how does that make you feel that no matter where you are, you can always be inspiring?
Well, now I think it's pretty awesome. I lost my legs a while ago, and people always would tell me that you're so inspirational. I'd be working out and somebody would come up, oh, that's so awesome, you're so inspirational. And for a long time, I was like, nah, what? I'm just living. I got dealt a bad hand. I'm dealing with it. But now I've kind of changed my tune on that. I think it's awesome. If people look at us, and get inspiration for their own lives, then that is awesome. And I'm glad that I can somehow help somebody else in that manner just by seeing what I'm out there trying to do.
I want people to stop using the carts at grocery stores when they can walk. That's where I want to be an inspiration. I want to be crutching around Target one day and just have somebody be like, "That's it. That's what I'm doing." No, it is cool. It still kind of feels weird, when people do that, because like Rob said, you're just like, what's your alternative?
Right.
Your alternative is just to sit at home and feel bad for yourself and just be like, and I've seen that, and it's
done it. At some point, we've had our moments where we've done it. So we understand that feeling and that aspect of kind of feeling, hopeless. But
yeah, so and I still do it. You have a bad day and you're kind of like, man, I wish I had a leg, or I don't know, but it's pretty cool, and you try to talk it up, and for any listeners out there that are disabled in any way, you don't have to be missing a leg. You just, the basic rule is you just can't play stand up. You have some disability that won't allow you, bad back, bad knees, whatever. If you still want to play, come on out.
Definitely. So leading into that, how do people get involved into sled hockey?
Well, that's really what we're working hard to do, because it's a lot of people still don't know about the sport. It's definitely growing. Like every corner of this country, to include Canada and of course over in Europe and in Asia. It's becoming a more and more popular sport. Like the Paralympics are going on right now, and that's one of the highlighted sports, and hopefully Team USA can bring home another gold. But yeah, it's definitely growing popularity, but there's still a lot of people that don't know it. So our mission, we know what it's done to us, for us, so we want to make sure it's available to other people and they know about it and that kind of thing. So just like for us, if they needed that, they were in that kind of that deep hole, feeling sorry for yourself or feeling feeling hopeless, and you just needed that one thing to light a fire and get moving again, then it did it for us. It may not do it for everyone, but if we didn't do everything we could to share it to as many people as possible, then I feel like we're being selfish that way. It's like when you have a great thing and you want to share it with as many people as possible and hopefully help as many people as possible, to include kids who, like you said, in a situation or born with a disability, they need to see that regardless of the like you said, the hand you're dealt, it doesn't mean you're defined by that. And so, like you said, we just want to make sure. That's kind of our goal right now. We want to compete and play and everything, but at the same time, we just want to make sure that it's out there. People know about it, especially for us, the military community, where some guys are having a really hard time, and maybe it's sled hockey that can completely get themselves back, turn their lives back around.
Where do you guys usually play at?
These guys play down. We play, for practices, we play down at Bragg, at Fort Bragg on the ice pretty much every day. During the week, they let us out there and we skate with there's about 6 or 7 of us that skate pretty regularly down there. And then we do a weekly practice up here on Sundays for the Carolina team. And then our tournaments are held, you get the 2 national tournaments, so those could be anywhere. Like this year, they're in Chicago and Minnesota. Okay. And then the league play, since obviously we're in the Southeast League, so we've gone to Nashville, Tampa, Knoxville. We did Atlanta last year. They didn't host a tournament this year, but so mainly in the Southeast right now. The team may be going we're hoping to kind of go in a new direction next year, a little bit higher level play. So we may be looking at one of the other leagues that's got a little higher skill level. But we'll see how that plays out next year.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for sitting with us and sharing the sport of sled hockey with us.
Thank you.
We look forward to some more games and coming out and see you guys later.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.